Well, I'm going to say the same thing I said the last time I was here. You must want to hear this talk. It's about pain. Yay. Well, I have a little different take on it. Let's see what I've got up here. Oh, there I am. Pain pushes until vision pulls, making pain your friend. That's a different concept, right? Very different than what we normally do. What do we normally do? Push it away. Go the other direction. Do something different. Well, C.S. Lewis said this. Can you go to the next one, please? It says, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciousness, but shouts in our pain. It is the megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Pain is to get our attention. So the concept I have of making pain your friend is counterintuitive, right? It's the opposite of what you would think. Because we would typically associate pain with discomfort, distress, but our friends are not that way, right? Everybody have one friend who you can talk to, and they just kind of go, it's okay. They make you feel better. The thing about pain is that in this idea is that it's rooted in that pain is informative, and it's a companion. It's always been there. It will always be there. It will never go away. It's part of your life. It's hard to take sometimes, right? But we have a choice with this pain to either listen to the pain or ignore the pain, and it gets worse. How many people have had pain and we just say, I'm going to ignore that, and it's gotten worse? Raise your hand, all of us. We've all done this. So what we have to do, and if you're sitting here today, you know, religious science isn't something that you sit on. What does Ernest Holmes say? Treat and move your feet. So I'm pulling up my arms here today, and we're going to move our feet. So we have to listen to the pain. We have to dig a little deeper. We have to find out what the pain is. We need to identify it, and we need to find out where it's located. Because it's either in your body. How many people have a body pain right now? How many people? Okay, or it's in your mind. How many have mind? Or it's in your soul. Yeah. And then we find within us a place to respond, so that we can make the pain subside. Now, a lot of this is just book work, and then pretty soon I'll have a story for you. Okay. Science of Mind says this: pain acts as a pushing force that compels us to address discomfort or challenges, while the vision of a desired outcome serves as a pulling force that inspires us to move forward and make positive changes in our life. By recognizing the interplay between pain and vision, we can harness their combined influence to propel personal growth, resilience, and well-being. And I think, I'm positive, everyone in this room can relate to some sort of pain, either they have now or they're going through, right? We all have something, and it's always, I hope it's not all the time, but it's something that we're working on. But what I want to do today is, and for me, because I know I've experienced a lot of pain in my life, I'll tell you a story about one that just kind of, I'm surprised at how it turned out. But I want to change it from a bad memory to consider that had you not had that experience, you would not have moved past it. You would not be a better person because of it. Do you understand what I mean? Yep. And it's not fun to think about this or to even some ways talk about this, but it's just the truth. How many people have heard of Tony Robbins? Pretty dynamic guy. I would never take one of his classes because he would blow me over. But he has some really incredible things that he said. In fact, one of the very first books I read, the first sentence he said in his book was this. Individuals do not move until they experience pain. What an awful thing. And then he said later on in his own progression in life, he says, change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Now, I don't want to have the belief that I have to be in pain to experience something better. Do you? No. So, I would rather understand the pain and how we move through it and get on the other side. Now, this sounds real basic, but I'll get to it in a minute, the hard stuff. The first thing we have to do is we have to embrace the idea that pain is our friend. Because what do you think pain is? Pain is to get our attention. Bottom line. So when you're in trouble and you know you're in real trouble and your friend comes to you and says, I need to get your attention. You respect that, right? You go, oh, okay, okay. I don't want to hear what you have to say, but I'll listen. Because that's just the little part that opens the door. That's all it does. The other part, and I said this earlier, is that when we frame pain as our friend, we then can look at it like, oh, you care about me. I didn't have to put pain and then friend. It's a weird situation. But when we do that, we start to change. See, pain is the trigger. He wants us to pay attention. Now, I thought about this and I thought, oh, okay, it's a trigger. What's my trigger look like? Well, for me, it sometimes shows up as anger. Anybody have that one? Yeah. How about frustration? Oh, yeah, frustration. Insults. Those are pain. And I put ethical issues because I'm going to talk about an ethical issue. Now, when you have pain, I think, at least for myself, I sometimes go, I don't want to deal with it. I just need to leave it alone. But it doesn't go away. So the first part of this is about just saying pain is my friend, period. End of story. The second part of this is moving forward is easy when we're willing to listen to the guidance. So knowing that you have pain, you've identified where it's located, you've identified that, yes, this is real, this is something I want to do about. Now it's about being willing to be guided. See, and a lot of us feels like it's just, I'm just saying the same thing over and over, but it's going to propel us. But we have to be willing to listen to the guidance. So I'm going to give you a story. You love my stories? Yeah. Because they're all real. See this item right here? It's called a portfolio, and you'll notice it says USC on it. This is a real story. I had gotten permission from, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but I just want to say a few things. One is, I had gotten permission from the manufacturer to sell this to USC, bottom line. And I did it for over a year and a half. Now, there was another rep selling the same product. But for some reason, they just ignored me. One day I walked in. Buyer says, I can't buy that from you anymore. I'm like, what? I've been selling you probably 4,000 or 5,000 units over that period of time. And I was like, why? Well, you just signed up for another vendor that has the same product. It's a competing product. And that was the truth. And the reason why I signed up for it, and I'm trying to make this so it's not confusing, is that the company that was representing the other company got fired because they were doing unethical things. They were trying to steal business. This has been their tactics with me and many other vendors for over 20 years, probably 30 years now. What was confusing is what was good for them was not good for me. Not that I could represent two companies, which they were doing. They just cut me off. I have to tell you, I was really upset. So upset, I thought, you know what, I'm going to sue them. I never think about that. And then I thought, okay, being the minister that I am, I need to look at this a little differently. I was on the 3rd floor of the USC bookstore. I took the elevator down, and at USC, you walk out, there's this big entrance, but you can walk out to the side, and there's like this little cubbyhole area where there's nobody at. And I thought, I need to ask God what to do, because I was so mad. I don't think I've ever been this mad about an ethical situation in my life. And I went down there, and I closed my eyes, and I said, God, this is really hard on me, because it doesn't make sense to me. It feels very unethical. I said, reveal to me that which I need to know. Tell me how to handle this. And immediately I got this answer. It said, let it go. More will be revealed. I was like, and it was like those words that came through me, and it does it now, just went all the way through my body. And I went, okay. And I did. I went back up to the 3rd floor and said, you know what, we're going to just drop this and move on. The buyer was happy because she was in a bad position. She couldn't buy it from me, and she didn't want to play favors to anybody else. The interesting and the lovely part of the story is that this product that somebody else represents cannot be bought by them anymore. It's not on the market anymore. The other company that I took over, I doubled their sales just by showing up. Just by showing up. It wasn't about me forcing anything on anybody. I have to say also, but that company went out of business too. Oh.
Now you're it.
So I'm now trying to find a place to resource this item from people overseas. So, we never know how this stuff is going to work. But we have to listen to that divine voice that's, working through us. We can't sit around and go, because that was painful, guys. That was not an easy situation. You can you imagine being in a business that, now you all have stories like this. Mine isn't unique. There are many things that that were in my way. And see if any of these are in your way. One was the old belief. The old belief was, I can do whatever I want. Or they can do whatever they want. Or, it's unethical. Or I didn't want to surrender. At one moment, I did not want to surrender to this situation at all. Change. I didn't want to change. I was happy making lots of money. What I didn't realize is I was going to do it anyway. Also, things don't happen fast enough. The change isn't fast enough. Get that one? Right? That one works. Doesn't seem fair. Anyone have that one? Yeah. Yep. And maybe it's just you don't want to give in. I did not want to give in. Anybody have that one? Yeah, that's a good one. Anyway, Tony Robbins said this then. He says, beliefs have the power to create and power to destroy. Human beings have the awesome ability to take an experience of their lives and create a meaning that disempowers them or one that can literally save their life. So for me, all of this, transpired in that little story. And we all have different stories that are going on in our lives, but it's important to know we make pain our friend and just say, okay, I get it. Thank you. Now, let's move into how do we move through this. Identify it and how do we move through it. But we have to, and this is what Science of Mind says. Move it on, please, for me. The third one is sometimes in the mystery we have to catch a vision of the desired outcome. Now this is critical. Critical really at the end when I tell you the last part of it. Have you ever been in a position where you know you're stuck, you know what the solution might be, and you don't want to do it, and you finally surrender? You finally say, okay, God, show me the way, I'm going to do it. And what happens to your body? Anybody want to say? It relaxes. And when it relaxes, then what happens? You go, oh, that's it. I see it now. I see the end result. I see the way through it. That's the vision. So we have to sometimes relax in the quote-unquote suffering of the pain to realize that there's something else that's going to happen. And I'm going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Nothing's going to get in your way. It's going to move forward. The thing that I see happen, though, and I'm going to put this little slide up because this is kind of the critical part. I will in a minute. I can tell you, I've seen hundreds of people who do one thing that makes it not work. They give up. They give up. You cannot give up on your vision, period. End of story. Whatever that is, you keep moving forward. Because if you give up or you have doubts along the way, what does the divine do? What's the universe do? Oh, no problem, we'll go over here. And it delays your, whatever the vision is. So you don't want to give up. You want to keep moving forward. You have to give up. I don't have to give up, excuse me. You have to say, no, this is the way. I'll give you this picture. Never give up on yourself. I'll give you a little small example right now, and then we're going to do a process. I wrote this down. I'll say this first. And must remember, in the midst of everything is God that supports, and we simply have to tap into it. So in my personal life right now, I have an elderly in my house who has fallen, broken their pelvis, broken their shoulder, has a sinus infection, cannot get insurance, is in a SNF. That's a skilled nursing facility right now. Does not have Medi-Cal, only has Medicare. And it's like trying to maneuver through the entire universe. You know what I'm talking about. It is so difficult. And for one door closes, another one opens. Another one closes, another one opens. A threat comes in, this and that. And in the beginning, and this has been going on for a couple weeks, happened on my birthday, by the way. I know, it was sad. And she even apologized. I was like, it just happened. And in the beginning, I got caught into it. I got caught up in the whole thing. Wouldn't you? It's your family. And then I've been working on my dissertation and doing these 21 answers to my exam. And it came to me, I can't be in the story. And I say this to you because you can't be in the story. You have to step outside of the story and say, God is my source. And so I have shifted entirely to, this is going to work out. We'll find a way. There is a method. There is an end result to this. She's going to be okay. We'll figure it out. Because I cannot be in the story. I'm a little bit, but I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily the nice guy when I go see Mom. I say, you need to do what we tell you to do now. You can't sit there in your chair and do nothing. You have to participate, or you're not going to live. And so I'm telling the truth. I say this to you because this is what we have to do with ourselves. We have to do this for ourselves. Because nobody else is going to do it for you. And we have been supporting this lovely person for about 18 years, saying, get up, go do. Be with community. Anyway, now it's the time. There's no more choices. Choices is you do or you don't. And that's the way it is. So, we're going to do a process. So, you don't need to write anything down. You're going to do it, and you're not going to share with anybody. But we're going to do a process on something that is close to you. something that's been bothering you. And we're going to walk through the steps just like I just did so that you can try and allow that divine to move through you and whatever your answer is. Because maybe it's about letting go of controlling it. I don't know what your answer is, but I want you to find it, hopefully today. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and think of a time where you felt pain, either now or before, something that feels like it's unresolved. I want you to identify, is it in your body, is it in your mind, or is it in your soul? Where is it located? And what was your reaction to this? What is your reaction to this? Is it anger, upset, frustration, depression? Just give it a name, a word. And whatever your word is absolutely perfect. There's no right or wrong in this. Just find that word. Now in your mind, I want you to go back, or if you're in it today, is to think about how would you like to react or respond. Did you react or did you respond to this? And if you reacted to this, maybe how could you respond? What could be a way that you could respond that would benefit both parties or yourself? Is there something that needs to be clear, more clear? If there's something that needs to be said, I want you to think about what could you say to that situation or to your body. Sometimes we have to talk to our body and say, it'll be okay. I'll do this and that and this and that. So I'll give you a moment to think about that. Now I'm going to ask you to imagine that the divine is sitting next to you. And you're going to have a little conversation with that entity or that being, whatever you want to call it. And ask it, is there anything more I need to know right now to be revealed to me about this situation? Just listen. And if you get nothing, maybe it's you don't do anything. That's also an answer. So I want you to hold on to whatever that conversation is. Say thank you. And if there's some sort of action in this, that's the vision. Just hold on to it. And when it's right for you, then respond with that. And now notice how you feel. A little better, or there's more to do. Just listen to your body. It will talk to you. And so let's take a deep breath together. Let it out. And when you're ready, open your eyes. The thing is that we have choice. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but I get in the middle of it and I don't feel like I have choice. What I invite you to do is find a quiet place. That's what I've had to do. I've created this nice little quiet space behind my barn. I have a barn. Behind my barn, and I went and bought this nice little cushy, those chairs you can sit in that are on those little swingy things. And I go back there, and I go either read a book, or I get on Instagram and I watch the funny videos, so I can separate myself from it all. So I invite you to do something to take care of yourself, because this stuff is not easy. Is it easy for you? No, good, I'm glad. I'm glad you agree with me, because it's not easy. This is hard stuff. But know that you have a choice. You do not have to be stuck in that pain. Just be willing to move through that. Move through it and allow yourself. I found this word that came up to me because I can remember being in business with somebody and they got into pain and there was something that happened to them. They got paralyzed. And they couldn't make any decisions, so I had to make it for them. Don't get paralyzed. There are lots of practitioners here, ministers here. We'll do one-on-one with you. We'll just pray with you. You can call us up and we'll just do prayer, or we'll talk you through it. But don't be stuck. You don't have to be. You're not alone. You are not alone in this. Life is complicated, especially right now. It's really complicated. So don't be alone through your stuff. Just know pain can be your friend. And that you're resilient. You're really resilient. You have, everyone in here and anyone out there has the capability of figuring these things out. And sometimes we just need some support and help. So don't let that stop you. When I went through my pain, I didn't want any help from anybody because I was too embarrassed. Forget it. We've all experienced stuff. We've all gone through this. So just know you're not alone. So I'm going to pray us out, bring Joe back. I'm sure you've been inspired by something I've said here. And we'll lighten the load here a little bit. So let's close our eyes. And just know that we are absolutely surrounded by the infinite presence. That presence I call God. Infinite intelligence, source, love. And that we're never separated from that essence, ever. There's no place where God is not. As it moves in us and as us and through us, and through our affairs, through our pain, God is right there in the center. In the center, supporting us and guiding us along the way so that we never give up on ourselves. And so I accept today that each and every one of us, whether you're in the room or you're on Zoom or you're going to listen to this later, that we are all in this together. That we're guided by that infinite presence that moves through us in a grander way. There's no obstacle that is in our way around anything that we are experiencing. And we have to just never give up, knowing that as we give, we receive. And I know that everyone in this room gives more than they could ever imagine. And so we are deserving of the good that is there for us. And so I know as we move through today, through this topic, that we come together on our own heart to know that we are strong, resilient, and that Spirit guides us through whatever it looks like. And so I give great thanks for this infinite source that is sourcing through all of us. It's sourcing through all the complications of bureaucracy in life, knowing that we're all going to be okay. So with that, I give great thanks. I release these words knowing that they have been heard by the big divine, the big mind, and that it moves in and as and through us the entire day and whatever that situation might be, knowing that we're all okay. So I just say, thank you, God, and so it is.